welcome everyone. This is our first roundtable discussion from Linearity with some really amazing artists that we've been collaborating with for a long time. Before we were even called Linearity, so we're not just partners, we're friends, I think. I'm gonna start introducing myself and then we're just gonna go around and have these amazing people do the same. So my name is Lavinia, I'm a video producer at Linearity. And I'm happy to be here. I'm Romanian, and I'm just going to give it on to Joel.
Yes, my name is Joel Volkmar. I'm from Cologne, Germany, and I'm a logo designer, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi there, I'm Nasti. I'm designer and illustrator from Barcelona. I work on multidisciplinary designs. I'm an illustrator. I'm very happy to be here with all my colleagues here.
Hi everybody, I'm Sandra. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer from Zurich, Switzerland. And I do a lot of work with Linearity now for 2.5 years. I've been working with Linearity and it's really great to be here today with you guys.
My name is Santiago. I'm from Chile. I'm a graphic designer and tattoo artist, and I'm Berlin-based at the moment.
Hi, my name is Aysel. I'm graphic designer and illustrator. I work at Linearity as an illustrator as well, and I live in Berlin.
So we're gonna start the conversation pretty easy, I think. So what is your guys' design mantra?
My design mantra is to get a little bit better in design every day, to become the best designer I can be.
So I'm gonna cheat and go for less is more, because I think that's like the most important thing, that know when to stop, because you can just, I can just keep going forever until a point that like it basically blinds you. You don't see the details anymore. So know when to stop.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump right in there because mine is kind of similar. It's done is better than perfect, because I can go forever, and perfectionism sometimes gets in your way. And sometimes it's just like time to stop.
I totally agree with you. I am also using this mantra, but my first mantra is the power of brainstorming. So you have to start and then you have to know when to stop.
Yeah, I would say it's quite similar, like with all you guys, but for me, it's get it started. Like I always have trouble with that, working with too many things at a time, things I need to get done in the calendar, like at some point. So just get it started. If it is just create the document and not even touch it, but that's what I do.
Yeah, it's like just overcoming the fear of the white canvas, basically.
Yeah.
And awesome. I want to talk about vertical expertise versus do-it-all type. So what do you guys think is your style? Do you feel like you can just apply your design knowledge across multiple visual aesthetics, or do you just want to have your own unique style that clients come to you for? Maybe Sandra, because I know we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, we've talked about this, exactly. So I think there's definitely both approaches, or anything in between is great. Wherever you feel like your niche is what I think you should pursue. For me personally, I realized I'm a little bit more on the artistic side, creating my style, and then I really like the jobs where I can bring that in. But I'm also happy to adapt obviously to the corporate identity of my client, to the point where I feel like we're still going together into the same direction. And I think it's just it's a personal question. Everybody can kind of decide this on their own, and then see kind of where they want to find their niche. And I think it's a good idea to also explore a little bit on both ends and just see where you're comfortable at.
Nice, thank you.
Good point. I think that the best point is somewhere in the middle, not too close to your own style. Be open to explore new things, new style, to evolve somehow as an artist. Mm-hmm. And I personally think that it's important to develop your own style. It's like your own brand, because you have to show to your client what to ask you for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's kind of it's nice to stand apart, especially when you're like a freelance designer. You need a little bit of something to have like your unique selling proposition in order to stand out. So it's one of the ways, it's not the only one, is to do this like with your style. So yeah.
Yes, I think it's very important to have a basic niche. For example, by me is logo design, the niche golden ratio. I create logo designs with a golden circle, and that's my niche. And clients come to me because they watch the video with the golden ratio circle, and then they will another logo with this golden ratio.
So a lot of clients find you on social media.
Yes, a lot of clients find me on social media, but I think the quality of the clients by social media are not so good. Not so good with not so good like the clients of my they generate of my website. My website get me the best clients.
Do you actually do a lot of SEO as well?
Yes, SEO and email marketing. And,
okay.
yes, it's my strategy to become new clients.
Okay, cool. Nice.
I think, yeah, there is a difference between being a freelance artist and working at a corporate. Because if you're a freelance artist, then that's your brand, and you need to have a certain style to attract certain client. And working as in a corporate means that you kind of need to bend your style to fit in the company expectations. And I mean, I'm coming from a graphic design background, so I'm okay to do both, and depends on like what I'm looking for. But if I'm creating something for myself, then I follow my own style, of course. Yeah.
And I think like if you leave the clients and the money aside, it's always better to pursue the style and the niche, you know? Like even if you work for a corporate, imagine you are working for the one you want to be working to, like, or with. So that's why I think it's always better to work like develop a style, because even if you are doing motion design and the next day you are doing a logo, if you are working on your style, you can, or people can tell straight away that you did it, even if it's in different platforms, even if you're cooking something or whatever. If you work on yourself in a company as a freelancer, I will go definitely for that. But that's just leaving the clients and the money aside, because you need to pay the bills at the end. So
I mean, I think sometimes like it's just like it's very hard also to could just avoid this actually. Like, I mean, I remember when I was working in the creative agency, like it was just to a certain point I was able to like not fall into a style, but you have a certain aesthetic, you have a certain way to look at things. And I think in the end, this is like ideally also why the people hired you, not just the freelance clients, but also like if you work in a company, then probably they also picked you because you have these certain aesthetics. So yeah, I think zero style or something is like this also not the answer, and then 100% is also not. It's always like a little bit like shifting on the spectrum.
So I'm just gonna jump to the question that is kind of related to this kind of corporate environment. So being a freelancer for a corporate or like a freelancer for a company, and a company is always gonna want to achieve their business goals, and they're gonna have their own opinions, of course. And how do you kind of juggle applying your style or an adapted style still to, you know, just these sort of business goals, and maybe there's something that is conflicting, like your design style and opinion as opposed to their business goal and aesthetic?
Well, if it's completely conflicting, I think don't go for it, you know, like really, really massively. If you can't sleep and everything, like then is it really worth it? But then also I think like in the end, if the collaboration is right, then you're already aligned with the values of the company that you're working with, hopefully. I mean, yes, I know this is a very cute and utopic idea, but yeah, I mean, isn't this the goal to together go forward towards a certain goal and help each other? And then I'm also willing to like push my comfort zone a little bit, and maybe I'm also going to learn something from it. So yeah.
Did you ever have a client that made you like not lose sleep or something?
Not lose sleep or lose sleep?
Lose sleep.
Okay. Well, they're like very back in the day when I was just starting out, I was working actually for a client who their client was like the largest pipeline in the country. And, I had like a little bit of a conflict that eventually when I learned this, because at the beginning I didn't actually know that, that my work was going to be like sold to this company. And I was like, can I live with myself? And then in the end, it's also, I believe actually, so if you're going to get fairly paid and you enjoy who you're working with, then to what point am I willing to like maybe expand my ideologies and then also take money and do the things that I want to do with it? Because I can always decide like, what am I going to do with this money that this company is paying me? So I think we sometimes forget that, because I get the ideology thing and everything, I think in the end, it's like a personal decision, like how much do you want to stick to your ideology? But then in the end, don't forget that money is also a certain power. And if somebody is giving you money, you can always decide what you want to do with it and how you want to invest this again and how you want to give back. So yeah, to wrap up the question, I didn't really lose sleep, I think, but I did kind of like reflect on it a lot and like, can I do this? Is this okay? Or is it just not? I don't know. And I don't really have an answer for that until today. It's like, it paid my bills. Why would I starve myself just to, like.
For principle, basically.
For principle, exactly. I also have to cover my bills at some point. And okay, call me a sellout. I don't know.
I mean, you are in this point because of all the steps that you took. So nobody's selling out, truly. We all have to fight
learn.
for...
And I think it's also like an experience, try a different style. You kind of gain different perspective, like just learning that style. I think it's never a like complete lost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can always learn something and just take it as an experience and then do it differently next time.
Everything experience. The clients are paying us money and experience. So we learn from that.
Oh, I like that.
But finally, I mean, I've been in both sides. I've been in sides of companies. I've been in sides of freelancers. And sometimes it's too complicated, of course. But finally, we have to understand that companies are paying money to us to do something special what they need to help to achieve. We have to help them to achieve a goal that they are proposed to. They are not paying us money to us to have fun drawing, and that's all. So we have to have this complex mind of business, style, artist. I mean, like it's like aligning the stars sometimes. But especially, I think we have to also choose the right clients for us. And something that social media allowed me is to pick up the clients. I mean, like, wow. I'm not working with clients. Our goals, our visions, our values, and their briefings and budgets are not aligned with my ones. So I think that's maybe the way, and that's why I also value social media, because it can give you another source of incomes and give you more exposure. But as you said, it's a very interesting point. You said that your website gives you best quality clients. When you was talking about it, I thought the freelance platform maybe could give you best quality clients. So it's very interesting insight.
Yes.
You have like I'm gonna ask you a question after Joel, so you're not off the hook. But so Nastya, I know like you have like a really big following. How long did it take you to basically get to this point?
I think 3 years ago I have started with Instagram. I have started to grow my YouTube channel. This was a reason I started. And then I have seen that a lot of people like my stuff that I produce. And then I have step by step, it goes step by step. And yes, it's growth every day. And I like it. It was a right choice that to bring my skill to Instagram, because many people write messages to say to talk to me that they start with design because they watch my videos, and this is very inspiring. Yes.
Awesome. And you, Nastya, as well, like have a really big following. How was your journey?
It was a lot of work, actually. I mean, you have to produce quality content, engagement content that gives value, and sometimes it's not just a picture and that's all. You have to bring value with each piece of content, but not too much value. It's contradictory. Not too much value, because if not, you get burnout so quickly. And you have to bring something that it's easy to people to understand, to watch, not too complex, not everything in one single video. So, but finally, I have 2 points of view to my content strategy. From one side, I have my like super strategic. I mean, like this is a trend. This is wow. Now there are reels on Instagram. You know that this is engaging. I also have YouTube channel, so I'm analyzing each video where the engagement dropped down, dropped out, etc. I have this side, and this side is very dangerous because it made me burn out. But there is another side of you. That's why I started working on content. That's passion. I mean, like I'm enjoying it a lot. When the things comes naturally, it's way much easier to then give them strategic approach. So I have to start with passion and then give them the strategy. But it's really took pretty much time. Going back to your question, I don't remember how many time it took, because it was like this. You know, it was like first growing stage, then what was the next one? I don't know why. Sometimes Instagram and YouTube, they behave so weird, because the videos sometimes that are supposed to perform well, etc., they are not performing that well as you expect, and then the same happens otherwise. Just one video starts performing very well, and it brings you exposure, new following, and it make your community grow. So it was like a few waves of growing, and I started in 2019, and and reached out 50K. I don't remember when. I don't remember really, but it's like continuous work.
So I just want to say one thing about because you mentioned bringing value to your brand, and one thing that like I noticed when I was watching your videos, because I've been using the app for so long, and like every time I was watching your videos, there was always new tricks that I learned, just this combination of tools which I really liked. I was like, okay, I just learned something new. So I think for that, like it's one of the value that I realized that you're bringing a lot. So just wanted to say that.
And thank you for mentioning our app. Cool. So, Nastya, you talked about burnout, and I think this is something really real. And the next question is kind of related to this. It's a bit of a hot topic, both positive and negative. So being a freelancer requires you to just multitask to such an extreme way sometimes. And what are your guys' take on using AI as part of your workflow?
Yes, it's definitely a hot topic, and I use AI ChatGPT to writing faster emails to my client, and this is the way I use this. And also I use the AI Midjourney to create some logos for inspiration, and then I can do my only, or then I can create my logos, and so I can get better ideas, and this is the way I use AI.
Cool.
So, Lavinia, I have to reveal you a secret. When I write in emails, I'm using an AI character. Because it's like faster, but I'm not that good on copywriting as on other tasks, and they are really time consuming for me. So I just use quickly like I just put a few ideas I want to communicate to you.
Your emails sound amazing always.
Thank you. And that's really helpful, because if there is a certain email culture, we have to write correctly, etc. I can just download link here. I don't. You understand me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really helpful when in the daily task, when you don't know how to formulate your thought, or sometimes you're angry with somebody and you have to email that person, and that's a perfect moment where the AI comes, because there was a case I used ChatGPT to, and I said him, "Hey, I'm really angry with that person because I sent him that email. He didn't respond me. Now he's doing that, and that. So can you please prepare me an email to make that person do the thing I need to do?" And it prepared a perfectly neutral email, perfectly written. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it best. Just funny stories. But when coming to picture AIs, etc., I find them very useful because they're like another source of inspiration, of seeing how the algorithm sees the task you are fronting. Like I'm about to design a website, for example, right now, and I've been asking AI to design me a few Midjourney, by the way. I've been asking that AI to design me a few concepts to see what can fit better. So it just saves me time, gives me creative ideas I can start working with, just time saving. And emails también. And with emails as well.
Nice. So very similar, like you all basically. Anybody else use AI in their workflow, or it's just not that time yet?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used it yet, but I might be overlooking at it, but I think it's just a tool. Like you need someone using it like behind, a person, a human being just typing like what you want to express or what concept are you looking for, and be able to decide if you want to use it or not, or to regenerate it or whatever, or take just part of it or something. I think it's just a tool that you need to be smart enough to use it and not be consumed by the tool itself, that it's super easy.
It's like when you
No, you go.
Yeah. When you said like sometimes, like in the beginning, like sometimes you just have to get started, even if it's just like creating the document or something like that. I mean, I totally feel like what you're saying as well. Sometimes I just need. It's just very helpful if something gets the ball rolling, and then I can still decide like how much of this text. I mean, I'm sometimes use it as for text as well, like emails or social media posts, and then I just pick the things that I like, and then I rewrite them maybe, or maybe I don't. It really depends. And yeah, it's just another tool. I know it's a very hot topic, and I don't know, maybe we're going to be taken apart for this, but I think we always have the power to decide what we want to do with it, and how much we want it to control our lives, and how much also like we want to be intimidated by it. And I know that I have my creativity. No AI, as far as I understand it, no AI can like come up with the original ideas or something. All they can do is reproduce. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that. Like I'm not intimidated, because I know my head, I know my creativity. I know that this is like very unique, and yes, maybe there will be like copies of what I do or something. I'll see what I'll do then. I don't know. I don't want to worry too much about this now.
That's the attitude for sure. Don't be scared. AI is our friend. I mean, as Santi put it, it's a tool, and I think that's just a perfect approach.
Yeah, I mean, only thing I wanted to mention is that the copyrights issues that like people having right now. Apart from that, it's a tool. It's just like it's a new tool. Like everything new, there's issues happening right now. But I think like by time there's gonna be some regulations, and then it's gonna be more fair for people.
Yeah, there is always like with everything new, like there is always positive and negative. I'm not going to say like this is all wonderful, this is fantastic, we should all just only do this and whatever. Yeah, but as like with every new thing, there are going to be consequences, negative consequences. And yes, I'm worried about them, but I don't want to lose sleep over this right now. And yeah, I guess like there are going to be enough like measurements at some point that will take care of this, hopefully. So copyright infringement will not occur. Hopefully.
Cool. I think we passed through that question very nicely. I don't think we're going to get any hate for this. Nice. And
That's
All
important.
right. Another thing that I think is just kind of important to discuss in the creative community is like how much education can trump experience or vice versa. Are basically self-taught skills to the same level as ones learned in academia? What is your guys' take on this?
Good question. So, okay, I'll start. I have a formal education, but I like one thing about my education is that I was given basis of a lot of things. I was given basis of video, I was given basis of marketing, sociology, graphic design, 3D modeling, a lot of things that it's really impossible to get an expert in all of that things in 4 years only. But we got a basis, and if I want to go further and got an expertise in special field like, for example, 3D printing, illustration, sketching, I can take my time and learn by myself more and more and go deeper and deeper and get expertise. So it's actually a bit of combined education finally, because you got some official knowledge, theories, etc. But then you are free to go further and explore by yourself, and that's where the expertise come actually.
One sec. You do some really cool 3D stuff, Nastya. Like, is something that you learned in academia or like just yourself?
Basis, yes. But actually, the learning I got about 3D, it's actually like was very. I mean, if I would have to learn it by myself, I would go to YouTube, find a ton of tutorials. They are very useful. It's like a gold mine, YouTube, for tutorials for everything, and I could learn that. But we did similar things, more structured, more focused on more integral, more focused on basis that I can use to learn more about the same software or explore more software and see how I can combine it. But finally, it's all up to our creativity. And so I really enjoy that.
Yo?
Yes, I'm an example of a self-trained designer. I have no study design. I have studied economic psychology, and then I have choice to become a designer. And all of my design knowledge I have learned by reading design books, making design stuff, and making videos or watching videos on YouTube by design. And I think this is a good way to become a designer.
By the way, same. I also studied psychology, like economical psychology. I studied game theory, so it has nothing to do with what I'm doing either. So nice.
No, thank you.
Sisters.
So yeah, okay. So I wouldn't want to miss like everything that I've learned in the academia, and then you get like the kind of like the basic training, which is really good, so you know what you're building on. But then I think it's essential to keep building upon it, and I don't know how important it actually is to establish this basis because I'm not coming from there. But I've seen amazing designers who don't have a formal training, and I have seen really bad designers who do. So. Whatever suits you best. And then sometimes it's just also a financial decision. I mean, not everybody has access to expensive academia. Not everywhere the academia is expensive. So I think it's great that with the internet, we have all these possibilities of just training ourselves also.
Yeah, I think like as an education, you can learn everything on YouTube right now. So it's necessary, like the most important thing I think academia gives you is the community, other students, and the like interaction between you and them, and you learn each other. You learn a lot from each other. That's the I think only thing that maybe can be useful and can be something that you might lacking if you're self-taught. But also you can find online community. Now it's like with the internet, I think everything can replace an academic education.
Santi, I'm curious about your.
I'm like struggling because I have mixed feelings about it. I think formal education it's not a must, but it's really good because it doesn't teach you like how to run a program, or at least in my experience, in my experience, taught me where I stand, what's my opinion on design, learn how to have discussions, criticize, and all that, But that's the good part of it. The bad part is at the end, almost all my classmates were designing pretty much the same, you know, because the school is kind of shaping everyone in a certain way. But the other part of the discussion and where do you stand, and of course always super political, not talking about politics and political parties. It's just like I think everything it's politics at the end, some way or another. And yeah, in the university, that's something you learn, you know. And yeah, all the other things you can learn it from YouTube, for example, but it's just the algorithm can take you to, I don't know, something really deep that you don't know, just clicking, and if you're not able to decide like or to know where you're going, you can end up doing like pretty nasty and empty stuff, you know?
Tell us how you really feel. But how did you learn tattooing? You were self-taught or?
Yeah, completely. But that's the thing. Like, you don't need to study. I feel like my parents right now saying like you need to go to uni, but it's like doesn't matter where you study. But if you study something, you will end up knowing that, like, to relate with people and to discuss and to have like at the end for me, university is to discuss and think more than learning something in particular, you know. I'm not saying like illustration, for example, that for me that's something like a technique. It's not saying it's good or bad, but something different. If you want to be like a lead designer, if you like that, like that's something you should study. I think like a formal education and get experience from people that have that experience, you know.
That's a good point, like managerial skills and stuff like that. Nice, good point. So it's time for like the visual identity question. So just to phrase this, like when a client comes to you and they want you to redefine their visual identity, so rebrand, how do you get started? Do you need something in particular from them, from yourself? How do you get started with redefining a brand? And I'm gonna ask y'all particularly here.
Perfect. Yes, I start with a big research, and the research is the first step and builds a base. And every design or every corporate identity uses space to become a great design. And therefore, I talk with the client about the vision, about the values of the corporate. And if all these things I have done, I have become, then I can start with the design process. Then I start with sketching, bring all ideas of a paper, and this is the process. And first, I think it's very, very important that the client bring the values to me, and then I can start with my work of a designer.
Yeah, good question. But first of all, I would ask to the client why he or why the company want to change completely the branding, what happened before, what didn't work out. I mean, it's a complex project, of course, you know perfectly. In linearity, you know perfectly how complex it is. And I think the best approach is to get know the client and to get to know what type of relations the company want to establish with their clients, what the experience they want to create, what's the directions they're moving on finally. Because that's the questions you have to get clear in order to start working on a huge research, seeing examples, asking AIs to generate you examples and first ideas, you know. And then basically lots of brainstorming and decisions that turns into a few proposals. Yeah, I would approach that.
Anybody else about brand identity?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm technically okay, now I'm having a blackout. I'm formally trained graphic designer, but I started to switch a little bit into illustration. So I've my good share of experience with that as well. And I find it very helpful. So I always ask my clients to provide me with like as much visual material as they possibly can, like kind of like making a past, present, future. So I'm just kind of like rephrasing what you already said, like as much as I could possibly know about the past, and then knowing like where they're standing now, and then also understanding where they want to project themselves in the future. That's always the best basis to build, and then you can go and kind of like feel like also about like what's the visual idea that they maybe already have in mind. But yeah, since I'm like tilting a little bit more towards my style, it's like
Yeah, I think it's really important because if you actually getting brief from a non-designer, then like there's a lot of misunderstanding. So it's really important to just force them to structure what they think, like what is in their mind with the visuals and like as much as description as they can give you.
Do any of you animate or use motion design softwares or?
I love it every time I get to do it, but it's like it's so slow, and then it's really like I really need to feel the passion in order to do it, because I'm just like I just wish I would know this a little bit better and not waste that much time. So if I really feel like animating something, then I'm happy to do it, because I think it adds so much value to. Just if I see like like one illustration, there's just like the stars are a little bit blinking or something like that. It's just like it's just like such a nice feature to see this. Yeah.
Especially because the algorithm now is really favoring video, so a lot of artists are animating their designs.
But I mean, even not even for the okay, algorithm, sure, they dominate our lives a little bit, but like in the end, I want to actually talk to people and I want to appeal people, not the algorithm. So, but for me personally, it's just like when I see like an animated image, and if I see a still image, it's just like a little bit extra there. And of course, I love still images as well, and I do a lot of them. But yeah, I really do have the impulse to do it a little bit more, but I don't do it that often, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's important to say, because it's not really professional what I'm going to say, but my first animations was made in the Keynote software. Literally, it's a presentation software. It's like PowerPoint for Mac. And first animations were made. I'm sorry again. Were made there because it's so simple, so easy to use, so intuitive, and with a little bit of creativity, you can add animations to presentation, simple animations that animate picture, animate illustration, just a few touches, and it's magic. And I think that sometimes we should get more creative about software, because sometimes the animation may look really complex, really difficult to understand, to know, especially because of that complex software that's out there. But the possibilities are around here. So I really want to add it because it's...
And we have possibilities coming. Thank you so much, Nastya. I appreciate the plug. So yeah, Aizo, you mentioned that you're just kind of beginner animator, motion designer. So like what kind of stops you from going forward, or do you want to go a bit forward?
Yeah, I want to. I mean, the reason that I'm still beginner, I've been a beginner for a while, because I think it takes just too much time and dedication to actually really master it and learn it, use it properly. Otherwise, just there is like a learning curve, and it's a very steep one. It's just the softwares that exist right now, that is like most of people using, really complicated and it's intimidating, and just takes so much time to get used to it. That's the main problem. And I actually, in the past, I did 3D modeling. Compared to that, I'm still struggling. I don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes it really looks challenging, especially when it comes to vector animation. It's like impossible. You have to switch to raster animations, export it as a picture, and then animate it somehow. But no, I mean, like, no way, it looks it's too complex, and you don't know where to start, what programs are. The programs, you open them and they look like a spaceship, like where I'm going to space.
Million buttons.
Yes, and it's not user-friendly. I mean, the software has to be user-friendly. I don't understand that politics that create software for people who born I'm sorry, who born knowing how to use that software. I mean, we are not, we don't know we don't know how the things work. We need to be taught. It needs to be intuitive. If not, I can't explore full potential of the software.
Nice. Well, I think we've done our job and we paid our bills. Cool. All right. So, last question, sadly or happily, but just this kind of antagony between complexity, simplicity. When people want to design with simplicity in mind, what are they overlooking, or what do you guys think is like the trick here?
I think when reduce the complexity of a minimum, often overlooks the functionality. I think it's very important that design follow function, and this is the point. This is very important, and many designers overlook this.
Yeah, I think like simplicity is like a muscle. Like you have to learn how to build it, and it's a skill that you have to learn to develop. And just by removing everything, the job is not done. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that you have to learn and develop and get really good at in order to make good, simple designs.
Yeah, I think there's a big mistake that people think simplicity is lack of character or just grayness or something like that, you know. I think simplicity, if you want to work with simplicity, you need to have character as well, or style, because if not, we will end up living in a white square with everyone the same. Like, you need to do something simple but with character, and that's the trick. That's the difficult part. You can do a logo that it's a black square, but depends how and where you use it, if it has character or it's just another logo that it will be lost in space.
Yeah, I think if I can like add to this, and intention as well, I think like if you have the intention, if the logo is just the black square, if you have the intention that this is actually functional again for the brand, then yeah, it can definitely work. But if it's just like, oh, like it looks nice, that's not enough intention behind it.
Yeah, regarding simplicity, well, especially when it comes to user interfaces, I think that simplicity is one of the most difficult things to get, because it's a result of hours and hours of deep investigation and working on the user workflows, because you have to know what to remove and where to remove it, and you can't break the user workflow. And especially when it comes to software, there is also a special particularity that when working with applications or software where the creative person has to work in, it's very important to keep the maximum of usable space on the screen, because there's a limited space and we always want as much space as possible to see what we are working on, what we are creating, etc. So it's not really easy, but it's possible with a lot of hard work, actually. That's the way, not just putting out all the buttons and that's all. You'll find yours one.
You want to add something, Aizo, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I also think that like simplicity is something that it has a lot of strategy behind it. So in order to go from complex to simple, you need to know which elements to remove. You need to know how to carve it, and it's actually maybe to replicate that result is really easy. That's why it looks like there's no job done behind it. But to get to that point, actually, it's way harder than to create a complex design thing.
Yeah, good point. So with that, I think that we're done. I want to thank everyone for like such cool insights. Your knowledge sharing is just so precious, and you're such different artists and individuals. And I think that was the point of the panel, just to kind of have different input, different backgrounds. You come from different countries, different ages, everything. So thank you so much for taking part of this. I hope to have you again as my guests when it's possible. And for everybody watching, just kind of like, as usual, like, subscribe, just like show love to our channel. And we hope to have like very similar content coming soon. Thank you. Bye.